KUGAN CASSIUS for Rifle TV in association with Napkins Gym Marbella. You've been on holiday?
Yeah.
Where you been?
Been to France for 3 days over the weekend.
For your birthday?
It was.
Why didn't you really tell anyone?
Because when you get to, I was 36, right? And when you get to that age, you don't really. I feel like it's a bit muggy on Twitter. You know, like people retweeting happy birthday wishes and stuff like that. So basically, I went into the office. I bought some donuts, and Kevin Mitchell came in and went, "Whose birthday is it?" And then one of the girls went, "Oh, it's Eddie's." So he came down. Then he decided to tweet happy birthday, and then it's quite nice. Got some nice messages actually. But it's not really. At 36, it's semi-game over, isn't it?
Martin Murray. Been interested in him?
Yeah, I've nearly signed Martin Murray probably 3 times, I think. You know, when he finished with the Hattons, and then I can't remember what happened after that, but maybe a year or so after that. Always felt like he should be with us. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like he's done it the hard way, which you've got to admire him for. I mean, 2 defeats on his record, one in Argentina against Sergio Martinez, which he clearly won. A draw against Felix Sturm, which many felt he won. I actually felt like, being honest, a draw was actually quite a fair result. Don't let him hear that. Because when I signed him, I told him he 100% won that fight. And Golovkin, who's Golovkin, and he went 11 rounds and had a great fight with him. So, his resume is unbelievable, and I just feel like he's a popular guy. He's got the credibility. He's got the ability. Let's build him here. We know we've got a great platform to do it. And it was literally like, he sent me a direct message on Twitter last week going, don't know if you fancy a chat, but would you be interested in, working with me? And I got his number and I called him instantly. And literally, we didn't even meet. Obviously, I've met him before, but we did it all on the phone, exchanged emails, got the deal done, and it was so smooth because he's been around, he's experienced, he had a great relationship with Rodney Berman, who's done a great job for him. The Hattons built him up. He's been around, he's seen everything, he knows what he wants to do, and that's be built in the UK, be built on Sky, and be involved in huge fights. So he's in the right place. Starts on June the 26th in Liverpool. He's right in the thick of it very quickly because he didn't really want to box till the end of July. But I said, look, jump on this show. So that's one. And then maybe we're going Hull as well on August the 1st. And then September the 12th, which we're sorting out at the moment, could feature James DeGale defending his world title. Could feature James DeGale against Martin Murray. Or could feature Martin Murray in some big fights as well. We've already, even since signing him, we've had 3 or 4 major names come on saying, would you be interested in a fight? So at super middle and at middle. But he's got the ability to box at both weights. I think Liverpool would be interesting because that'll be up at 168. Just give him a little feel of where he's at, But he's a big, strong guy. He's been at middleweight for a long time. But the Andy Lee fight is a big fight for him. I'm sure he'd make middleweight for the right fight, but 168 is probably the priority.
So obviously, Murray coming back off the Golovkin defeat, which, like you said, there's no shame in. He took Golovkin.
And you know what? I remember watching it. I think I was at the Abraham Smith 2 fight, and I remember watching it thinking, mate, this bloke, how tough is he? Because after 1 or 2 rounds, it was like, this is going to be hard work. And Stephen Knight taking clean shots, exchanging, gave Golovkin his best work so far. Golovkin's Golovkin. He's on another level. But the questions is, could Martin Murray beat Andy Lee? Andy Lee's improved a hell of a lot, but the answer is, yeah, he can beat Andy Lee. Tough fight. Might lose, but can definitely beat him. Could he have beaten Felix Sturm here in the UK? Yeah, for sure. Can he beat Chudinov? Yeah, he can. Can he beat James DeGale? Great fight. Can he beat George Groves? Yeah, I believe he can. But these are all fights that, once we can get him buzzing here, it's very difficult to fly all over the world and be at your best. But he's just packed his bags and just got on with it. And I admire him for that. And I think one of the questions I asked him in the press conference was, picture yourself now as a fighter compared to before you fought Sturm. He's like, whole completely different. I was just wet behind the ears, just literally flew out there and had a crack. Now it's different. He's got the experience. and he can be in those big fights domestically. Look at the 168-pound division. You've got Carl Froch, still undecided. You've got James DeGale, IBF world champion. You've got George Groves, hopefully he beats Badu Jack in September. You've got Andre Ward fighting Paul Smith. You've got Rocky Fielding fighting Brian Vera. You've got Callum Smith fighting Christopher Brass. And now you've got Martin Murray in the mix as well. It's an unbelievable division domestically. And he can be in some major fights.
Have you had any conversations with James DeGale about his first defence being against Martin Murray? How does it feel about that?
I think James is again one of those fighters that he wants the big fights, and he sees Martin Murray as a big fight. I'd like a little bit more time. Do you know what I mean? To work with Martin Murray and to build him into a bigger name and let him work his way into the 168-pound division. So for me, the fight with DeGale, if DeGale did box on September the 12th, would probably come in December or the next one. Do you know what I mean? But you can't hold someone like Martin Murray back. If the people like the fight, and I think they would, it's a domestic fight between two very good fighters, then Martin Murray is definitely an option for James DeGale's first defence. If he boxes in September, might just come a little bit early.
A fight we never saw at middleweight was Macklin Murray. You now have both. I know he's moving up to 168, but he's open to fights at 160.
Definitely a fight that can work. Maybe even at a catchweight. I mean, I know catchweights aren't the most popular thing at the moment, but it can be done. And Murray Macklin is still a big fight, and that's a fight that can be made at middleweight, catchweight, super middle. I think is too big for Macklin at the moment, but people want to see it, and it's still a great fight.
Talk to me about your September 12th show, which will feature Anthony Joshua. I know you've been obviously working on opponent-wise for that date. A lot of rumours about different fighters. So what is the situation?
The situation is we've got September the 12th held for the O2. We've been talking to a number of opponents, international opponents, Dylan White. We like the Dylan White fight. Dylan's had a little bit of trouble with his hands, and I think you'll see the Joshua Dylan White fight probably more like October, November than September, because I don't think Dylan will be quite ready for that fight. We'll make an announcement though on that situation, maybe this week, but more likely Monday or Tuesday next week, to let everyone know what's happening. But I think that because the Dylan White fight now looks like it'll happen later in the year, like October, November, not too much later, I don't know whether we now bring James DeGale forward. I'm going to share my conundrum puzzle with you and the viewers. So you've got Kell Brook potentially fighting August 29th. Back-to-back camps for Jojo Dan and Frankie Gavin. Seeing him tomorrow, not tired, but it's quite a big ask to say, right, back in camp, you've got 12 weeks or 11 weeks to August the 29th. Or do you say to Kell Brook, let's go Rios at the O2 on September the 12th. James DeGale was supposed to be fighting in October. Do you say to James DeGale, James, do you fancy September the 12th? And do you say to Kell, do you fancy October? Give yourself a little bit of more time. And then you say to Anthony Joshua, do you want Manuel Char on September 12th at the O2? And then you say to Martin Murray, do you want Matthew Macklin on September the 12th at the O2? Or, so the response that we've had from May the 30th has been fantastic, and I think we've got the opportunity to build another show like that in September, October, especially if it's DeGale headlining against, I don't know, Kessler, Murray, Hopkins, or it's Brook against Rios. These are bigger fights.
Could you have two world title fights in September as well?
Oh yeah, could have three.
So you could have Brook and DeGale on the same day?
That's tricky. Brook, Rios and DeGale in a big fight is tricky. But if we go with one of those headlining, there'll certainly be another world title fight, and possibly three. And Joshua. Similar kind of model. I mean, like I said, the numbers were strong, the response was great. So I like that model. But I think we need a bigger headline fight.
Are you going to do two shows in 2 months then, at the O2, September and October?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dylan would be more likely November. But, that's a fight that's just going to grow and grow and grow, and it will happen. everybody's up for that fight, and it will happen. And we'll make an announcement on that early next week.
So Joshua for September the 12th. You mentioned
I like the Manuel Char fight. I think Tony Thompson looks like he's going to fight Cunningham now. I like Ustinov. Reached out to them. I like Carlos Takam. Unfortunately, Joshua's now number 2 in the WBC, which is somewhat ahead of our current position, in my opinion. But every governing body is going to want Anthony Joshua to fight for their heavyweight title. So now that he's gone to number 2 in the WBC, you'll probably see him go number 5 in all the other divisions quite quickly. The other governing bodies, sorry. But we got to step up 100%, and I think, you know, Char, Ustinov, Takam, Thompson, although I don't think that's going to happen. They're not, you know, they're nice. Marius Wack, I think he's a nice fight as well. So yeah, at the moment, you know, laying my cards on the table. Joshua Dillian White was the fight that I wanted to make for September the 12th. He won't be ready, so we need another big fight. But now we bring in DeGale, now we bring in Brook Rios, now we bring in Martin Murray in a big fight. So, you know, I'm excited.
So basically, of all them fights you just mentioned there, the fighters, you will juggle them around 2 potential dates in.
So again, going back to my conundrum, originally we were saying August the 29th for Kell Brook against Rios. September the 5th, we'll go to Leeds. This is all subject to change, by the way, so don't start booking hotels and then having a go at me. September 12th at the O2 for Joshua. September the 19th in Cardiff for Selby. That was our original schedule. Now it's all sort of blown up in there, and do we mix and match? And you know, so if we don't go August 29th with Brook, which I'm not sure, I'll see him tomorrow, do we stick him on at the O2, or do we let him just box in Sheffield in October and have a little, you know, there's so many things. Like last night, in fact the last 4 or 5 nights, I lay down in bed at night. I can't tell you, my head is like, it's about to explode. I've got so many things and different, you know, models, different, not models, like the ones in the shop, but just so many different conundrums going through my mind, and shows, dates, venues, fights. It is absolutely mental at the moment. But I'll tell you, as a fight fan, you should be very excited.
I was expecting some sort of announcement from Carl Froch, but we haven't had that yet.
Yeah, I mean...
Is he still undecided?
Yeah, 100% undecided. I spoke to him last week and we had like an hour on the phone, and it's like we keep having these hour conversations, we don't really get anywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's like we talk and talk and then we go, so what are we doing? It's like, I don't know. I saw Tom Loeffler's stuff about, they've gone quiet on me.
Yeah,
I only haven't replied to him from like one email, but I don't know, there's no point me, I know the deal with Golovkin, so there's nothing to talk about. If Carl Froch fights again, I am 99.9% sure it'll be Gennady Golovkin. But I don't think he'll fight again. You know, I've said that a couple of times. And I said to him, he said, you know, the other day, he said, my missus and kids went out. It's quite sad, actually. He said, my missus and kids went out, and I put on my wraps, and I went in my garage, got a big bag up in the garage. He said, and I thought, I'm going to do 6 3-minute rounds on the bag, blow away a few cobwebs. He said, and I did one round. He said I was shockingly unfit and not sharp at all. He said, and halfway through the second round, I just stopped. He said, I remember looking up at the wall and it was a picture of him and Kessler in the Kessler fight. He said, and I just thought, sod this. He goes, and I went and made a cup of tea and sat on the, you know, so, and that's Carl Froch saying that. That's not, like, I would never expect Froch. Froch is that sort of diligent, and he's that, he would just do the 6 rounds, regardless of how you know. But when he said that, I thought, how do you get in camp and get yourself up for a Golovkin fight? He does that fight. You know, I've always said it's got to motivate him. That fight does motivate him. He likes that fight. But I'm just not sure whether it's too late. It's over a year now, and I don't know. We have this conversation like every interview. But I think he'll retire.
Carl Frampton's opponent was announced as Alejandro Gonzalez, who will make his US debut. Can't do the date.
July, same night as Quigg.
Oh, July 18th. What did you make of that? Obviously, he's signed with Al Heyman now. So.
I think if Scott Quigg was fighting that guy, all you'd see is days of abuse on Twitter. It's an easy touch. I don't blame it for being an easy touch. It's his first fight in America, so it's not. But I did say that Scott Quigg will be in a much bigger, more credible fight than Carl Frampton was, and I was right. The opponent is very, very average, but you know, it's a big opportunity for him. He's fighting in El Paso, in Texas. I think he's on the undercard of Chavez. It looks like now. And you know, he's on CBS. We had loads of fighters. It's a big, it's a big audience. I think it'll be on ITV here. So I don't see it as a bad move. I just question the decision to go all the way to America, obviously for less money, in a much easier fight when you could have fought Scott Quigg. But I don't, we've done all this thing with Frampton, and it's like, I don't, in terms of a move for him, I don't think it's a bad move. I think it's a good move for him. If he's not going to take the Scott Quigg, he ran out of options here. So they've thought about it. He's got, he's paying a lot of people. He's got a huge team, but I think it's a good move for him. As a fight, I think it's a nothing fight, and it's not a great fight at all. But I don't necessarily you can't blame Carl Frampton. He's getting paid very well for a nothing fight. But I just hope that straight after those two fights, they're on the same night, we can just get it made like that. I don't know. I mean, I've spoke to Heyman's people. They say they want to make the fight. It remains the biggest fight out there. It remains the biggest payday out there for both of them.
Moving on tomorrow. You have a press conference.
It's a lot easier to sign everyone and then just make all the fights in-house.
You can't have everyone, can you?
Oh, I don't know.
Not everyone.
See you, Carl. No, but you know what I mean? Like, Heyman's got the ability, obviously in America he's got 80% of the fighters, so he can make all those. And now, you see obviously Brook Gavin, you're seeing Martin Murray now. You got the opportunity. It's so easy to make the fights. If I said to Martin Murray tomorrow and James DeGale, do you want that fight? Yeah. It'd be done in an hour. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I suppose if you sign the fighter, they probably like you if they sign for you, so it's a lot easier to make the
Yeah, this is true. Not sure Amir Khan's going to be queuing up for join Matchroom.
Never say never.
Yeah. Be interesting to see how that plays out.
When's Floyd due to make his announcement?
I think he's boxing September 12th.
Yeah.
There's rumours that it's going to be Kell Brook. A few discussions. I don't think so, but you never know. I didn't think it would be Khan because of obviously Ramadan. But if he's prepared to skip Ramadan, which I didn't think he would do, but I think now he's saying that he would do for the Mayweather fight, I think he might get it. He might get it. Sneaky feeling. If he does skip that. But Garcia?
Pick one.
Kell Brook?
You should know about Kell Brook. But he's not. The belt situation is weird now because
now he's not relinquished.
he's not like the WBO.
He's asked for an extension, is it? Yeah. Don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? That'd be the same night as our show to go to. It'd be a nice linking.
If you got it, yeah. Tomorrow, press conference.
Yeah.
In
Looking
Hull,
forward to it.
6 p.m. Why 6 p.m?
Because I wanted people to be able to come. I wanted the public to be able to come. Obviously, when you do it at 12:30, it's difficult. So this is a public event for the city of Hull. So, I really wanted to let the public come. You're going to see a lot of fireworks tomorrow. This is brewing up very, very nicely. And don't you, as in you the viewer, think that what you see tomorrow is a put-up job for hype. these two have never liked each other. You see all this bollocks, like, I really respect Luke, you know, he brought boxing for home. Oh, I've been a friend of Tom. And now, just because someone's said something in the media, now everything's changed. Watch.
Date, venue. Announced tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, most people know it's August the 1st. At Craven Park, holds about 20,000. Big announcement regarding the fight and what it's for tomorrow. Big announcement on one of the fights on the undercard, a rematch. Really good fight.
Curtis Woodhouse.
No. And a couple more lads announced for the undercard as well tomorrow. You know, it's going to be a huge night. Huge night. I mean, we sold out of. We haven't even gone on sale, but the fighters' orders have sold out about 3 categories of pricing already. So, yeah. And again, what's going to be available on the line is going to make it a really big fight.
We look forward to your news tomorrow. Right, just to recap,
Yeah.
26th of June, Liverpool Echo Arena.
Yeah.
David Cross not on the bill, obviously Martin
Replaced by Martin Murray, yeah.
You looking to put David on any of your other cards?
No, I mean, he's got an opportunity. He's only, when I spoke to Sowland, he's got a twing in his neck. Twing? Is that
Twang?
a physical term? Like a medical term?
Yeah, it is.
Twang in his neck. That meant that he couldn't spar for 3 weeks. So he should be alright to go, like, end of July. I'd still like to make him against Joshua, but I think that's, you know, maybe that comes after Dylan. Martin Murray, Tony Bellew, Rocky Fielding against Brian Vera, Callum Smith against Brass. Then we're in Manchester. You know, Quigg against Frampton, Crawler against Darlis Perez, Joshua, Eggington against Glenn Foote, unbelievable fight. Chris Jenkins against Tyrone Nurse, British title, unbelievable fight. And then we're in Hull. And then we're going to be possibly in Sheffield at the end.
So between the 1st and the 29th you have nothing?
No, normally we don't have anything in. I know, but it's boxing now. It's just. So yeah, September the 5th, maybe Leeds. September the 12th, definitely the O2. September the 19th, maybe Cardiff. And then October, Birmingham and Newcastle.
Interesting times ahead.
Dave Ryan against Bradley Saunders. Love that fight.
Froch Golovkin, November, late November.
Maybe. We've got Froch Golovkin, you've got Brook Khan, you've got Frampton Quigg.
No one had ever
Got to pull one off, haven't we? No one moaned about the last pay-per-view. That was probably one of the most pleasing things, is that the response from that May 30th card, not just from people watching at home, but people who were there. And that, I'll tell you what, that made me very proud to put on that show.
Numbers anymore? Any more news on numbers? Done all right?
Pay-per-view, done well. I mean, didn't do the Bellew Cleverly buys, because that was astronomical. But in terms of 4 weeks after Floyd Mayweather, it was well ahead of expectations. But again, it didn't matter whether it did 250,000 buys or 150,000 buys. It was about the response and the quality. And the most pleasing thing was everyone loved it.
Okay.
I don't get a lot of love on these comments on YouTube, right, on your videos.
It's highly watched, but
Oh, well, just the other day I was watching a video and I thought, it just come up, the comments bit like 140, and I was like, blimey, on it. It was like, not great for self-esteem. But, oh well.
go easy on the YouTube comments.
No, it's alright, don't worry
YouTubers.
about it.
All right,
We'll survive.
Eddie Hearn, thanks for talking to you. Like them shoes.
Yeah, a bit cheeky, aren't they?
Good. See you in Hull tomorrow.
We'll do.